Hello and welcome back to Sex, Brains and Money. Thanks for staying with us today. Now we're back with Mohsin Bhujwalla, who is the Fundraising Coordinator for the LGBT Youth Line. Thanks for joining us today, Mohsin.
Glad to be here, Nikki.
So why don't you just start by telling our audience a little bit about the LGBT Youth Line and what it is that you do for queer youth in Ontario.
Great. Well, the LGBT Youth Line was established in 1994 to address the needs of LGBTQ youth across Ontario. Mainly, a lot of youth were living in isolation, fear. They had no access to resources, so we want to provide a service where youth can call us. And we're open actually 6 days a week from 4 to 9:30, so we're quite accessible, and they can get information on relationships, advice, safe sex, for example, and also referrals to other resources such as shelters and crisis centers as well.
And one of the things about your organization is that it's not just serving youth, but it's run by youth as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. We have about 40 youth volunteer that actually answer the phones or respond to MSN chats and emails. And they're fantastic bunch of people. They're so dedicated. And so it's a very youth-led model. So we really like to describe it as by youth, for youth.
Well, that's great too, because that gives the people who contact you a sense that, you know, they're talking to their peers instead of talking to some sort of, you know, authority figure who's telling them what to do. They're talking to someone who's actually been there. So I think that's great. But your organization does more than just, you know, answer the phone. I understand you have online services and stuff like that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. Well, through our website, youthline.ca, we do have an extensive database. So the visitors to the website can go to the website and actually search resources in their local communities. We respond to MSN chat requests from youth. Youth are really tech savvy, you know, not like when I was in high school. I was just learning to use a computer. So it's very important that we have that platform so we can engage them. And it's also a source of comfort, sense of comfort, I believe. You know, sometimes it's hard to describe what you're feeling, and you know, through the voice it could be quite emotional. Having the MSN chat it's great because you can really collect yourself and your thoughts, and also it feels safe, I believe, as well. And
definitely.
That's the same thing with email.
You know what? And I always like to say that one of the really powerful aspects of internet-based or computer-mediated communication, as they call it, is that real life doesn't have a delete button. So you can delete what you say before you actually say it, and you know, some things can't be unheard. So I can see why a lot of youth would really, you know, find that appealing to be able to go online and use a technology that they're already comfortable with in order to communicate in a way that they're used to. So I understand that you do a lot of stuff for youth outside of major urban centers, which in my opinion, they're the ones that probably experience the most powerful feelings of isolation. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do outside of the big cities?
Absolutely. So yeah, we're not just a support service or hotline. We do actually have 2 major outreach programs currently on the go right now. Youthline Loves Ontario is one of them, where we go to 4 communities in Ontario. So we just wrapped up in Simcoe County, which is the area around Barrie, and Renfrew County, which is around Ottawa, Pembroke area. So we have 2 more regions in Ontario, and it's our outreach coordinator goes to these communities and they engage youth in creating positive queer spaces where they pretty much can take up space, be proud of who they are, and have a network of supports. So, you know, typically, you know, you don't have to rely on the bigger communities. We want the smaller communities to be self-sufficient as well. So we work with the youth in those communities and also their community partners to establish something that will hopefully be long-term.
And I'm sure you take a lot of directives from them in terms of helping them get what they want rather than telling them what they want. Can you sort of talk about the way that they initiate some of the programs that they want to do? I think you mentioned you help them set up GSAs in some place, which Leanne talked about earlier.
Right, absolutely. So, well, that's one of our programs, and the Youth Ambassador program as well. This will be, it's another initiative, but what will happen is we work with the students. What do they want in their communities? So, with the Youth Ambassador program, we will actually be training 12 youth across Ontario, and we're so thankful to be beneficiaries of $40,000 from Pride and Remembrance Foundation to do this. But yeah, so most likely we'll help them, you know, how to establish a Pride Parade or Pride Celebration or form a GSA in their local schools and communities. We still haven't developed the full curriculum, but that will be designed by the youth and in conjunction with our outreach coordinator.
Because of course your motto is by youth and for youth.
For
and I think you do a fantastic job in both regards. So thanks very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And Mohsin Bhujwalla from the LGBT Youth Line, you can get the information from the website and check it out. And if you feel so inclined, please donate to this organization. They're fantastic. I really like what they do, and hopefully you'll like what they do too. So we are going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then I'm going to respond to some of the tweets that you've been sending. Stay tuned.